What's up? What's up? Mic check. Always have to have a mic check. Meg, check.
What's up?
Welcome in, guys, to the Brooks Bench. We're going over, it's Monday. Fantasy Live is here. We're going over trades that happened this week, injury updates, a lot of injury updates, waiver wire rankings, and who to replace with these injury updates that we're about to tell you today. Because if you haven't been following the news, big one today that we're going to be going over. And then at the end, we'll answer some Q&A from questions from our subscribers or Discord members. So let's get into it. So obviously, the trades of the week is up right now. I thought this one was an interesting trade. Someone traded Paige Beckers and Enrique for Kelsey Plum. Now, how I initially read the trade, it was they traded Kelsey Plum for Paige and Enrique. So I don't know. They didn't confirm which way it went. So, with that being said, Megan, looking at this trade, Paige Beckers and Enrique for Kelsey Plum, fair trade, or even would you do this trade?
I like it. One, I don't like having two big players for the same team. I like having them spaced out amongst teams because if that team's not playing, that's two good players you're not getting points for.
Yep.
But the way Enrique's been playing, I'm not surprised that people want to move away from her.
Mm-hmm.
And Kelsey Plum's been on a tear, and I think that's going to continue. So I like the trade. I'd trade for Plum.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I would trade for Plum.
Yeah.
You probably could have did Enrique and someone less. I would have kept at least Paige Beckers, in my opinion. Yeah. But I would have for sure paired Enrique with someone to get Kelsey Plum. I feel like this is her year. We predicted that she was going to do well in LA, and she's coming through for her fantasy managers. So, it's good to get rid of her. Do you see Enrique bouncing back? Like, is she just in a little slump, or is it going to be a rough season?
I think she can bounce back. I don't see Enrique playing like this all season. It's Enrique, guys. She's a scorer. She wants to do good, so I see her bouncing back. It's a new coach, too, so new system. Everything's different over there.
That's true. But I think I would want to be on the side of receiving Plum. Would you agree on that one?
Yeah.
Okay. Otherwise, was it a fair trade, or like you're like, eh?
I think, like you said, you probably could have did less. But I also understand that Enrique's not doing anything, so it's hard for people to accept.
I get what you're saying.
With nothing on top at face value.
Gotcha. Okay. Alrighty, let's get into the injuries. A couple players returned over the weekend. Anissa Morrow, she did not play a lot of minutes. I don't think it's going to be a thing. Would you say that? Like, there's too many people in front of her. Olivia Nelson-Ododa, Tina Charles, what's her name? Diaby's in there.
Yeah.
Quite a bit. I think her minutes will increase, but I don't think it's going to be impactful enough for fantasy. Would you say that?
Yeah, not right away, at least, for sure.
I don't think I would hold a bench spot for her. Would you say that?
Right, I'm not.
Okay. Sophie Cunningham returned. Aaliyah Edwards returned. I believe she was on a minute restriction, though. She didn't play that much. Right? She didn't play that much. She did kind of well for fantasy. I think it was like 16 fantasy points, though. Kayla McBride, we know she's been out for personal reasons, but she did participate in practice on Sunday. So fingers crossed. I know you Kayla McBride managers are waiting for her to come back. Rakia Jackson and Shakira Austin still in concussion protocol. They're day-to-day. Monique Billings was an interesting one. She was out last game. I believe she's day-to-day now, though, with a foot injury. So that's something to monitor, which we'll talk a little bit about later, because I think last week we said she'd be a solid, pickup off the wire, but then she ended up being a kind of a late scratch in sort of sense. Tiffany Hayes, and her nose, she's still out. No updates on that. Niara Sabali, so she was ruled out the same day, but it was because she had a knee appointment. They said that she had follow-up on clearing out her knee, which is why she wasn't at the game. She's now questionable, I believe, right?
Yeah, that hurt me. I think I picked her up right before that news came out. So.
Yep. Phoebich, they said it was a shin injury during the game. They said she did practice fully today, so I guess she's considered day-to-day questionable for tomorrow. Tahina Pau suffered an eye injury. It did look pretty bad. Day-to-day, as of now, I don't think there's a timetable, just depending on when her eye heals, I'm assuming. Brittany Griner, knee, load management. I wouldn't worry too much about that. But if you're a Brittany Griner manager, you have to know that she's going to take some games off especially if they're played back-to-back. Mm-hmm. Would you agree?
Yeah.
Okay. Haley Van Lith, ankle. She was out last game, day-to-day. Lindsay Allen, day-to-day. And then news we got today, Caitlin Clark out at least 2 weeks with a, what was it, quad? Quad injury. Someone said that was what she was dealing with in the preseason, which is why she sat out. But that is very concerning because it's a minimum of 2 weeks. It could be longer. They want her back fully healthy. It's gonna hurt. It's gonna hurt fantasy managers. Mm-hmm. You don't have that solid person you drafted top 3.
Yeah.
So, we'll talk about who we think is gonna replace her. I mean, no one's gonna replace her fantasy production, but be a good pickup in her place. I did add the game counts this week, everyone. So week 2, the team that plays the most is New York. New York plays 4 games. No wonder why. Because I had Sabrina and Brianna, and I was like, what? Do they play this week? Week 1? I was like, oh my God, come on. Mm-hmm. So they play 4 this week. Atlanta plays 2. Chicago plays 2. Indiana, Las Vegas, LA, Phoenix, and Washington all play 2. The rest of the teams play 3 games this week. So, I mean, if you're New York players, you're finally going to see some more action from them this fantasy week. It's good to just keep in mind because I feel like a lot of people, especially in our Discord, were saying that, oh, like, I have a whole day of no players and, like, there's no one really out there for me to pick up. And I feel like that's just how this week is going to be. It's gonna rotate depending on who plays. And it's hard when, certain days, there's just 2 teams playing. And it's just one game from the day. So it's kind of luck of the draw. There is a little bit of luck when it comes to fantasy. So with the game counts in mind, let's go over the waiver wire. So I did still break them down into some tiers. So must pickups, solid ads, viable streamers, and then risky streamers. I feel like that's an easier way to kind of break them down. So I don't know, Meg, if you took a look at this list, but we'll go over the must ads. Obviously, forgot to preface, these are players that are less than 50% rostered. So keep that in mind if we miss some players that might be on your wire. Go ahead and pick those ones up. Janelle, we got to figure out how to say her last name. Janelle Salon. I think it's that. She's killing it. She came in, plays almost 29 minutes a game. You want those minutes. That's solid. Scored 17 fantasy points and 37 fantasy points in the last 2 games. Meg, I'll let you talk a little bit more about Janelle.
She's going to have the minutes, so she's an aggressive player, so I feel like no matter what, she's going to get her fantasy points. First 2 starts in the WNBA, and she's in double figures, so I think she's a solid pickup if you don't already have her.
Yeah, everyone in all of our leagues basically has her. After that first game, a lot of people picked her up, and she's like impossible to get. But I want to say she's still less than 50% rostered. Did you want to confirm that?
Yeah, in all leagues though, all ESPN.
Yeah,
leagues.
In all ESPN leagues. Yes, correct. So that's something to take a look at. But if you're not in any of the leagues, and she's still there, there's gonna come a time where someone's gonna have to drop her just to try and stay competitive in their game. But she's probably a long-term hold. I wouldn't get rid of her. Would you get rid of her if you had to?
It depends on what the rest of my roster is looking at. I think I have her in a couple leagues, and I don't plan to drop her.
Okay. I would have to say the same for Kayla Thornton. I'm not even gonna lie. I didn't know she was doing that well. 36 fantasy points, 32 fantasy points in the last 2 games, averaging 30 minutes a game. Because that first game was a little rough that we watched. I was like, oh, I thought she was going to do a lot better. But she's solid. I see her in a lot of waiver wires. People add and drop her, but I think she's going to be a solid ad moving forward. And then Lexi Hull. Now, Lexi Hull, I think, is going to benefit the most from Caitlin Clark not being there. Obviously, she earned her starting spot last game. Dewana will probably be back in the starting lineup. And I know, Meg, you're more bought in. Dewana's going to benefit from this, so you want to explain that?
I think it's going to be a mix of Bonner, Lexi, and Sophie Cunningham.
Okay.
But I think the person, because I already feel like Lexi's doing good, I think Sophie's going to benefit and Bonner's going to benefit because there was a lot of missing points when you take Caitlin Clark out of the mix.
True.
And I think that Bonner and Sophie are ones that can easily fill that. So, and Bonner, I've seen Bonner on waiver wires everywhere.
They haven't hit ours. She hasn't hit any of my waiver wires in the leagues I'm in yet.
The one I see are on mine.
Hey, well, Bonner managers capitalize. The next 2 weeks might be nice for you. But I agree with you. Those three are for sure going to benefit the most. If you had to rank them, who would benefit the most? 1 through 3.
I feel like Lexi's already benefiting, so I can't really say
okay
she's going to benefit because she's already doing well.
Yeah.
But I would say Bonner.
Okay, Bonner. So those are the 3 must pickups. I know I have some solid ads that I was kind of debating if should be must pickups. Meg, do you want to add any off the top of your head if you're like, oh yeah, I need to get them?
Let me see. I saw in a couple leagues Nia Coffey's still out there.
That's crazy. I've had her since draft.
And I think I would say she would go on a must pickup. She's playing well. So yeah. But other than that, no.
Okay. Over to the solid ads this week. Veronica Burton almost was a must pickup. Megan, you gotta talk about it because she gave you 2 good games.
Yeah, but I think the Valkyrie has some tough matchups coming up. And so
good point.
With that in mind, I'm a little hesitant to just say she's a must pick up because we all have to consider matchups.
Yeah.
Right? And
they play New York twice.
Yeah, they play and they play the Link. So Minnesota. So
lovely.
It's gonna be a little bit rough. I mean, she did have great performances, but it was against Washington and in LA. I mean, when you get used to playing a certain team when you play them so much, and they played them 3 times already in the last week and a half, 2 weeks. So, yeah, I would say be careful with the Golden State Valkyries. I think that they are going to struggle a little bit because they are going to play these teams that are well-rounded. Like their 5 has started together for for the past couple of years. So,
sure.
So yeah, I'm hesitant about Veronica.
Okay. I think you're right. You have to temper expectations for her this week. I still think she's going to be a solid ad just because she's going to get 30-plus minutes probably. So, I mean, with minutes comes hopefully fantasy points, right? We've talked about Olivia Nelson-Ododa in the past, but we haven't highlighted Kennedy Burke too much. Now, we all knew New York was high on Kennedy Burke in the offseason. And with Benijah out, we were like, is she going to get that starting role? But then Phoebich was there. So we're like, what's going to be her role? But she's killing it. She's kind of like a 6th player off the bench, right? And then when they're blowing out teams, she stays in there, and which is good for fantasy. So it's kind of like she's a very, very solid ad. I've seen her picked up and dropped multiple times in a lot of leagues. So this is just confirming that, yes, it's a great pick. And
New York, remember, plays 4 times this week. So picking up someone like Kennedy Burke is going to get you
great
those
stash.
Extra little points for this week as well.
Honestly, that'd be a great stash just to keep for the next week. 4 games, and I'm pretty sure they have a back-to-back game in the middle of the week. So I think I would just pick. I'm actually going to go do that. No. Let's see. Megan, you can talk about Carla Late.
Same. It's the same as Veronica. 2 good games, but like I said, their matchup is going to be extremely hard. So I would be very hesitant on all Golden State players except for Janelle and the normal Kayla Thornton and the normal Tiffany Hayes if she comes back. And Timmy. Yeah. Outside of that, I would be a little hesitant.
And another one I want to point out is we kind of talked about her briefly. Was it on this morning's
WNBA
podcast?
Yeah.
McConney,
yeah.
I don't think that's right.
Monique McConney, yeah.
It's something else. No, they say it different on the broadcast. I'm going to figure it out. But she's been killing it. 23 fantasy points, 25 fantasy points in the last 2 games. She's, like we said, we were trying to figure out who is going to be that solid starting 5 for Phoenix, who's going to contribute outside of Satu and Alyssa Thomas, and I feel like it's her. Sometimes it's Catherine Westbelt, but I feel like the last 2 games she's kind of solidified herself into like a reliable fantasy player.
Yeah, she's averaging 20 minutes. They like her. They're starting her, obviously, so it would be a good pickup.
The rest of the names, I'm pretty sure we've really talked about. They're going to be solid pickups throughout the season. Nia Coffey, Odyssey Sims, Maddie Segrist. I'm curious with the Dallas players because they're starting off 0-4. If the coach is going to switch up the starting lineup, I'm thinking it's only going to benefit Maddie Siegrist. So I want to keep that on everyone's radar. Like, I know Maddie Siegrist is probably mostly rostered, but if there's a switch, I think it's going to work in Siegrist's favor, in my opinion. Maybe even Ty Harris. Ty Harris might be sneaking in there a little bit. Because we have to remember, Ty Harris is a good point guard. So it's like, they need someone to be able to facilitate to get it to their scorers. And I feel like what they're doing now is not working. And you cannot, if they lose tomorrow, right? Tomorrow's their game?
Yeah, Tuesday. Yeah.
If you go 0-5, oh my God, you got to switch something up. Like, you cannot put out the same starting 5. Okay, viable streamers. So streamers that you're going to see mostly picked up, dropped left and right. It's going to be chaos. These are the most common names I see on the waiver wire almost every single day. I do want to point out Natisha Heidman has been a strong candidate. Like, she would probably be my first pickup if you need a guard. She's been killing it off the bench for Minnesota. They've been giving her more minutes. We talked about Sophie Cunningham. She's probably going to get a bump up now that Caitlin Clark is injured. Mm-hmm. So that's something to watch. Anyone else? I mean, who do you want to point out on this list?
I would say Bridget Carlton. I think that she's still going to be a valuable streamer even though McBride's coming back. So I would not, I don't want people that have Bridget to freak out. I think that McBride is going to take a little bit from some players, but I still think that Bridget Carlton is still a good streamer to have if needed.
I mean, the only person really is going to not benefit from it is Carly Samuelson. Carly Samuelson's been very consistent around that 15-16 point mark. I think that's going to decrease significantly when Kayla McBride comes back. If Kayla McBride goes back to her same full-time role. And I am concerned for Bridget Carlson. She's not doing as well now, and I feel like Carly Samuelson will sub out for Bridget Carlson. Like, they are going to eat off each other's points. That's my only concern. I would consider if you could package Bridget Carlton with someone else to do it before Kayla McBride comes back. I mean, what are you thinking about that? Or you're just like, nah, I'll ride with Bridget Carlton.
I think Bridget Carlton's still a good pick to have.
Okay.
I mean, we already know the chemistry. I mean, they played well. Last year, you were still able to get good minutes and points out of Bridget with McBride there. So I think, like you said, Carly Samuelson is going to take the hit. But, nah, I would still stick with Bridget.
Okay. Sammy Whitcomb's been pretty consistent as well, staying around that 15-16 fantasy point mark. I mean, and I know it's not a lot of points, guys, but when you're struggling and you need just some points for the day, I'll take that versus the 5. Because, oh my God, I picked up someone, I can't remember, and they got me 0 fantasy points, and I was like, you gotta be kidding me. So those are more frustrating. So I'd rather take the consistent low scoring instead of
Kaylee Peters.
Oh my God, yeah, don't ever pick her up. Just kidding. But I would rather take the low consistency rather than the chasing the pop, which is what I did, but she was also the only player available. And she had like 24 fantasy points the game before. So I would chase the consistency rather than the... It's not high pop. I'm trying to think of a word. What do you call that?
No, yeah, like
a boom
they had
performance.
A good game.
Yeah. Other than that, we've already talked about like Bria Hartley, Catherine Westbelt. I feel like they're going to exchange who's going to be most relevant for Phoenix. So pick your poison on that one. Let's go over to risky streamers. So these you guys already know what risky streamers mean. They're probably going to get you 3 or 20. You just have to gamble a little bit, right? For example, Erica Wheeler, 12 fantasy points and then 40. Okay, that's never probably going to happen again. But you have to keep it on your radar. She's been up and down all fantasy season long. They've really been riding their starters. And Skylar Diggins has been killing it. So, definitely risky, but definitely had to show you guys like an example of like someone that could randomly pop off. You just have to get a little lucky, right? Another one that you could point out, Sugg Sutton. She's done well in the past, but not really finding her footing. 5 fantasy points and then 19. Who did you want to point out, Meg?
I would say we put Ty Harris here because we don't know what's going to happen with the team dynamics.
Yes, exactly.
Are they switching up the lineup? Are they switching things up?
Exactly.
I would keep an eye on that. As how things are right now, it's risky because one game she's getting the minutes, the other game she's not. If for any chance they start her and start to give her way more minutes, Ty Harris, I think, will be able to move up into a viable streamer. But just wanted to point that out.
Yeah. I also want to say the same thing for Maya Caldwell. Tahina Paopao went out with an eye injury. Maya Caldwell got the start, and she killed it. She had 30 fantasy points, and even the game before, she had 16. I mean, if you're doing well, a coach isn't going to just take you out just to take you out. So, I mean, maybe they're going to ride the hot hand with Maya Caldwell. Might be better than a risky streamer, maybe a viable streamer in the future. But I need to see a little bit more from her. We also need to know how long Tina Paopao is going to be out. But that's a name I really wanted to put on everyone's radar. Someone that could potentially pop in the future. I don't see her a lot. I mean, I don't see her getting picked up a lot on waiver wires. But it's someone else that you guys can see. I did put Sarah Ashley Barker in this section as well because Rakia might be coming back. I know she had 2 solid games, 15 and 20 fantasy point games, but with Rakia coming back hopefully soon, those numbers are for sure going to fall. Also, the carousel with Washington Big, Stephanie Dolson, Emily Angsler.
Yeah,
you gotta roll the dice. But you also have to roll the dice because they're frequently out there on the waiver wire.
Yeah.
Now with Aaliyah Edwards back, I mean, you're just gonna have to pick your poison and hope for the best. It's gonna be really on matchups. Like, who's Washington playing this week? They don't play a lot. I think they only have 2 games.
Let's see.
Yeah, they only have 2 games.
They are playing Fever and Liberty. Not good.
Oh my God, that's a horrible matchup. I'd probably avoid both of them.
Yeah.
If you had to choose one, who would you choose? Oh, this is bad.
I'm going with Aaliyah Edwards. What do you mean?
No,
I'm
you
just
don't
kidding.
have
between these two.
Yeah,
I'm going Dolson.
I know. I think I was gonna.
I think Dolson just because she can sometimes get high and hit the 3.
I'm just thinking about the mismatch on size, and she has the size advantage over Angsler. But if they want to go quicker and play faster, then they're gonna put Angsler in.
The better matchup is gonna be against Fever. I think the worst matchup for them is going to be that New York game.
Yeah, it's going to be a struggle.
Brianna and John Quill down there battling.
Okay, let's go into Q&A. So we did have 2 questions. So, I mean, we kind of touched on that, the Caitlin Clark. So it's, what do you do about Caitlin Clark injury? Who's going to replace the scoring? Who's a good add off the waivers? Replace scoring, I mean, it's going to be hard to say. Obviously, Kelsey Mitchell, Natasha Howard have been doing well alongside, and Aaliyah Boston have been doing well alongside of Caitlin Clark. I mean, from the 4, who do you see a bigger jump with her out?
Bonner. I really think that this is where the benefit of having Bonner comes in, because Bonner can be that big scorer that can complement Kelsey Mitchell and Aaliyah Boston. And I see this is where she'll be worked more into the system. They're gonna need her to come out scoring.
But from the starting 4, who's gonna take over?
Kelsey Mitchell.
Okay, that's what I was asking.
Oh, sorry.
Yeah. Why Kelsey Mitchell?
I mean, she's always had it. I mean, this was Kelsey's team before Caitlin got there.
Sure.
We already know what Kelsey Mitchell can do, and now she just has help around her. And but no, yeah, I think if it comes down to it and they need the ball in someone's hands, it's going to be Kelsey Mitchell.
And then good waiver wire ads. We talked about it. If Bonner's there, she's going to be a solid ad. Lexi Hole is my number 1 ad if she's still there. And then Sophie Cunningham, I believe, gets a step up with Caitlin Clark being out. Okay, this is a long 2-parter. You ready? Okay, so in both these teams, I want to drop 1 player to have a waiver wire spot. I have an unfavorable matchup this week. Who would you drop in both? So team 1 is Alicia Gray, Ryan Howard, Vandersloot, Sanaya, Collier, Rakia, Cardoso, Thornton, Shepard. I don't think I would drop any of them. Who's on your wire? So that's what my follow-up question should have been. This is, I mean, I like the bigs. I wouldn't touch your bigs. I would try and trade Ryan Howard away because you have Alicia and Ryan, but that's a different discussion. I mean, you could drop Sanaya. That'd be the only person that I would consider dropping. I mean, what would you say?
Yeah, they don't. I mean, they do play Dallas, but then they play. I think they play Liberty. So those aren't the best matchups.
But the rest of the question, I guess, is so I kind of feel I should take the loss this week and ride with this team. Should I open up a spot or just keep it as it is? I'm leaning towards keep it as it is. Unless there's something crazy on the wire. Like, if you think you're going to get blown out, I mean...
I would keep... I mean, you
got... a solid team.
I wonder, because how many bench spots do we get? So we get 1, 2, 3,
You get
4,
3
5,
bench
6.
spots. It's 9 players total.
3. Okay, because... Oh, so she has Rakia on IR?
What? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. You can have 9 players total.
Okay.
So are you dropping someone, or are you sticking to keeping this roster?
I would trade. But, yeah, I think Sanaya is...
If you really want to, though. Like,
yeah.
But if this is your lineup, Meg, and you have it, like, are you trying to use the wire and compete, or you're just like, I mean, this is a solid lineup. It's week 2. I'm just going to stick with my guns. I'm going to stick with this team.
Yeah, I would stick with the team and try to trade, honestly, because... Like Brooke said, I don't like having the 2 dream players together. Mm-hmm. And then, in my opinion, I'm not a big Cardoso fan. Mm. And I really like McBride. I really think she's still going to have a great year, even though she's having a late start. Mm-hmm. I would maybe see if you can do something with either, depending on who you like more, between Gray and Ryan Howard, and then working in maybe Cardoso or Shepard and try to get something out of that.
I would trade Ryan Howard. For someone. I'm trying to think of someone that compares to Ryan Howard, because Ryan Howard's been so up and down. Or just, swing big. Trade Ryan and Cardoso. I've seen a lot of people low on Asia Wilson. You have the doubt on Asia Wilson for fantasy is crazy.
Yeah, that's weird.
You gotta capitalize on who people are tripping on. But I think I would definitely trade Ryan Howard. But the team 2 is Mabry, McBride, Citron, Jade Melbourne, NECA, Boston, Gabby, Shepard, Morrow. I'm dropping Morrow. Bye.
Yeah. That's
an easy one. You're probably going to find something better out there.
And Jade.
Melbourne?
Because, I mean, if you really need, depending on what's on the waiver wire, if you really need to, I mean, you're already going to be cheering for Citron. So you can kind of separate from Jade. Jade got a bump in minutes and fantasy points because Sykes was out. Now Aaliyah Edwards is back and Sykes is back, so I don't think Jade is going to consistently put up huge numbers. So those would be the 2 that I would consider dropping on the waiver if there's something better.
I get that. The only thing is I mean, the question just says he just wants to drop 1. So if you had to pick 1, it'd be Morrow, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Question in the chat. Is it worth adding the con to IR spot as drafting stats when she comes back? I'm just as high on her. I think... Okay. I would have said yes, I feel like, before I saw Sanaya Rivers play and her impact. But now I'm like, I don't know. Because I feel like... Now it's JC Sheldon and Sanaya. And they're getting all... And then who was it? Bria Hartley.
Yeah, Bria Hartley's in there.
So it's like there's a lot of hands, but I know Lacan's like really good. What do you think?
I don't know her game that much.
France.
I know, but I don't know, like...
All these France players are doing good. I don't know.
I feel like I remember her playing in the Olympics and being pretty good, being a solid
You remember
player.
Janelle, but you didn't put 2 and 2 together.
I know.
But you remember watching her in the Olympics, and we both really liked her in the Olympics. So that's what made me laugh.
Mean, if you have an IR spot, it's worth picking up anybody and stashing, honestly.
And the way with ESPN Fantasy is they're so late in changing it. I mean, you could have her on IR and like watch her play 1 game, probably, and not mess up your lineup. Then you can decide what you want to do with that. I don't think it hurts, especially because, like, I'm in a league where, like, my last spot is, like, it's just on rotation. My last roster spot is completely on rotation because, woo, my team is not so good. So, I mean, if you're in the same boat, I mean, it's good to try and guess who is going to be that next fantasy spark. Because people are doing it with Janelle. Let's see how long, that's going to last. Sanaya, people hopped on that fast. So trying to bet before people can hop on that train, I feel like is a good strategy. You just have to risk it a little bit. And I feel like the same kind of happened with Kennedy Carter last season. Some leagues, there was one person that drafted her, but others, she was on the wire. And then if you weren't on it, you missed that chance to have probably a fantasy winner. Because she was on my winning fantasy team last season. So, I mean, I don't think it hurts, in my opinion. I think that was the only question in chat. I don't know if you guys have another a question you want to add to the chat. But if you guys are here and you haven't already, watch our WNBA weekly video that was posted this morning. It's a different format. Let us, give us some feedback on it if you like it, if you want us to add or take away something from it. But we wanted to change it up this season to make it more entertaining. And if you guys are new here and you're new to fantasy, make sure to hit that subscribe button. We go live every Monday. And then Thursday is kind of that bubble show. Like if any major injuries happen and we need to discuss, or if a lot of people are having questions, difficulties with their lineups, we have that Thursday show as a backup show to be a catch-all before the weekend, basically. But I mean, we do appreciate you guys tuning in every day. This was an early episode. It's still going to be 6 p.m. Pacific time. It's Memorial Day, so have Memorial Day if you celebrate. So we were off of work, so we try to do the show a little bit early because we know we have East Coast viewers and overseas viewers that sometimes aren't able to make our 6 p.m. Show. So we wanted to do it a little early so everyone could join. But, I mean, thank you guys for tuning in. We do appreciate it. Like I said, we'll probably be going live Thursday. We do have a Discord if you want to join that. I basically put all updates in there of when we're going live, when shows are dropping, questions, stuff like that. So thank you guys so much. We do appreciate you guys tuning in, asking questions. It's going to be a fun season. It's going to be a long season, but it's going to be fun. So make sure to hit that like button, subscribe, and we'll be back on Thursday. Peace.